everybody. It's Nicole with the Curry Gumbo Podcast. And I want to know if y'all saw Girl 6. Do y'all know who that is? She kind of got this 90s New York vibe. Ashley said she saw her back in the day. And we gonna get into that. Stay tuned. Did you see this movie before?
Yes.
I think this is my first time watching it. I'm familiar, but I don't think I ever watched this before.
I would say that this is probably one of his least popular films. For a minute, it wasn't on any type of streaming for a minute. And I think because it didn't really review all that well. Like, let me just, right out of the gate, how are you rating this film?
Ooh. I didn't think about it. I was very entertained throughout the whole movie.
Okay.
My favorite Spike Lee is probably Crooklyn. If I would have paired Girl 6 with She's Gotta Have It, I might go with Girl 6.
Because it's from the 90s?
Maybe.
Well, the two films are certainly in conversation with each other because when the film opens, her monologue
we start with Nola Darling's
monologue. I don't think that these two films are in the same universe, right? So I don't think that Girl 6 is ever going to run. Yeah, but I don't think that she's ever going to run into an older Nola Darling. But I think that Girl 6 has probably seen She's Gotta Have It, the film, and it made a very strong impact on her. So yeah, I really like it. One thing that I can say, I found very few reviews, but the reviews that I did find, I don't think that they were written by Black folk. I am always interested to see what Black people and especially what Black femme folk have to say about this film.
The writer is Susan Laurie Parks. Spike Lee, a lot of his films are centered around women, and they're nice to women, I think. How do you think? Well, you don't think his films are nice to women? No, I think She's Gotta Have It was very profound, being it from a woman's perspective.
I also think that I think that he had to come to terms with that rape scene. I don't think the film came to terms with that in a significant way. Okay. And so I think it puts like a damper on that film. And I think I want to say he said in interviews, like, that's one of the reasons I wanted to make this into a show so that I can make up for that.
Do you think he was being irresponsible? Or it was
I think he was being irresponsible probably because he didn't know any better. I still love She's Gotta Have It. I'm still gonna watch it. I've always liked Girl 6. I remember watching it when I was very young. I don't know if I watched it when it first came out, but I remember watching it when I was very young
to watch this movie when it first came out.
Yeah, maybe.
96?
Could be.
Maybe.
Yeah,
I know how
I was up there watching Boomerang with my mama. Like, I was just watching shit, and I'm like, I don't know, but I remember watching it in the 90s with my mom.
March 96. I was 10.
So this is 10 years after She's Gotta Have It. And
I would never have.
I know.
I know.
No. Don't be like me and my family. I want to talk about the opening scene. The auditions kind of bookend the film because it opens with an audition scene. It closes with an audition
with the
scene.
Same Nola Darling monologue.
Yeah. And do you recognize the director from the first audition?
Oh, Quentin Tarantino?
I noticed that when he asked her to remove her top, that's when the film looks grainy. We are seeing what is behind, or what is in front rather, of the camcorder. And I was wondering, like, why do you think that is? Why are we cutting in between regular vision and camera vision?
This movie, it had a lot of the Spike Lee isms. the floating in the air. I don't know if this is a Spike Lee-ism.
I saw in one of the reviews that Spike Lee was going around saying that when he would film the men she would call, or who would call into her, he captured them. He captured them in a way that they had that grainy, textured feeling to take away some of their power.
Oh,
yeah, and also, so I think that's also a good, but also like there is a little bit of a filth when you're seeing her take off her top. And one is because
because it was no for what? Like, why am I taking off my shirt?
He said it's integral to the role, which might be true. Like, there are probably a lot of topless scenes, so we need to know what your body is doing.
That still doesn't, I guess back in the day, I feel like now it wouldn't matter. Like, if you're doing a nude scene, I feel like we're more accepting of different bodies, different breast sizes. I'm guessing back then they wanted a particular breast shape. I know like big perky boobs was like a thing in the 90s. Everybody wanted breast implants. And so I'm guessing they're on that type of tip.
She's constantly being asked to show her breast, but the first thing that she begins to describe when she's meeting with Lil, when she's describing her character, the dominatrix character, she's like, yeah, I'd have some big healthy tits. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I thought that was interesting. But I want to go back to your feeling of like the grainy texture quality feeling dirty, because it did feel dirty when Quentin Tarantino was like, yeah. I'm like,
gross.
And notice how like they were, she was dressed, I would say, somewhat professionally. The assistant was definitely dressed professionally. He had on a backwards baseball cap, a black, regular shirt. There was nothing professional about him. And I think like the white male privilege was just at an all-time high. The way he silenced literally every black woman. He was telling his assistant to shut up. In a way, like when she was like, girl, come on, show your tits. And he kind of motioned his hand like, okay, don't worry. It's okay. Like basically telling her to be quiet. Every time Girl 6 tried to speak, he's like, don't speak. Literally silencing her. I think there's a type of silencing that is happening when you are a white person telling the story of a black figure. So you telling me that this is about to be the most important black romantic film of our day, told by me, of course, a white man. When are black women a part of the creation of this story, especially since you silencing this actress?
They not. Where do I want to go next? We never know her name. She takes on the name Lovely. Isaiah Washington calls her Judy at the very end, but then she says something like, you still call me Judy.
I always loved when you called me that.
Yeah, so it's like, is that your
name? And
it's
like, who says that about their name?
Yeah.
Who says that about their name?
That's not your name.
But and notice that names are a big deal. And I mean, I feel like the only people whose names we get is like, even we don't even get Quentin Tarantino's full name. Her manager calls him QT. I think we get Murray's name, but even like Jennifer Lewis's character.
I'm looking it up.
Her name.
I'm looking it up even in the cast. And Jennifer Lewis is boss. Madonna is boss number 3. Naomi Campbell, girl 75. Because I looked it up. I'm like, did I miss her name? And it's like, no, I did not miss her name.
You didn't get anybody's name.
I didn't get the
name. You got Jimmy.
Yep.
Jennifer Lewis, her name is Lil, but that ain't your real name. Nope. Of course, none of these callers, Bob ain't his name. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not getting anybody's real name. I think it's saying something about intimacy. We're growing close to these people. We don't even know their names. Girl 6, you're growing close to Lil. Do you even know her name? Knowing Jimmy's name kind of suggests that this is her closest friend in the film. Notice she ain't got no good black girlfriend. And I feel like that could have saved her a whole bunch of motherfucking heartache. Do you hear me?
Damn it, Spike Lee. I was rooting for you, but you didn't give her no black girlfriend. She just had a trifling ex-boyfriend.
Ex-husband.
Yeah, ex-husband and Jimmy.
Back to the names, like the lack of names. She's constantly in wigs. The dream sequences.
I want to talk about a black woman and the wigs because I liked it at first. So before she takes this job as a phone sex operator, we're seeing she's juggling different jobs. She's doing street promotion, handing out flyers. She's working at a nightclub, like a coat check at the nightclub. Mm-hmm. And in every job, it's a different wig.
Different one.
And then I'm like, okay. So I'm like, it kind of seemed like the wig just represented all the different roles she had to play, all the different hats. Literally, the different hats she has to put on.
Literally.
To get to her day-to-day life, to pay the bills. Mm-hmm. Her audition wig, like every audition, she had different hair.
The first and the last audition looked like her actual hair.
Yes.
It didn't look like wigs. And so it seemed like this is the most authentic that we will find her, is when she is in these auditioning spaces. But when she is working, like you said, when she's doing the phone operating, it does seem like that might be a way to show, one, look at all the different people that I have to be just in order to maintain livelihood. And also, two, this might be my way of protecting myself. Like, I don't like when people refer to wigs as helmets because it looks like, but it is like a shield.
Way, she's constantly easily removing and putting another one on. This is not an install.
And these are not the wig installations that motherfuckers is doing today.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm trying to get my bearings of the black hair timeline. If we back in 1996, I feel like weaves were popular. There was a time when black women would not admit they wore a weave.
Oh, girl, hell yeah, no.
When black women was like, nah, this ain't no weave, this my real hair. I ain't got no weave. Like, wearing a weave was kind of like downgrading. So the point I'm trying to make, I'm sorry I'm being long-winded, is that
you're good.
Putting on wigs like we do today was not popular in 96. I feel like the French roll was popular, ponytails was popular,
finger waves.
Yeah, that was popular. So her doing these different wigs, I know you say you don't want to call it like a helmet, but it's different because it's not like today where you have your Monday wig, your going out wig, you got your work wig.
Yeah.
They wasn't doing that in 96.
And these are wigs that look like wigs. And I think like they're supposed to look like wigs. Like no one was walking around with that afro. No one was walking around with that that platinum blonde like one, girl. Like I think these were supposed to look like wigs, So
almost like changing her identity to where people
changing her identity while also protecting her true identity.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think that wig, just like the lack of names, is kind of like all in the same boat here. We have a struggling actress, much like Love Jones, which comes a year later. We have someone who's kind of at their breaking point, right? So her agent, Murray, lets her go. She bombs the audition. Her acting coach lets her go.
Well, let's take it back. She's upset about the take your top off comment. And she goes to her agent and she's like, what the hell? And he's like, well, if I told you, you wouldn't have gone. And she's like, that's the point. Like, why would you not? What am I? Like, I'm an actress. I'm doing the work. I'm studying my Nola Darling monologue. why are these people asking me to take off my shirt? And when she's with her acting coach and she's saying like, I can't believe they asked me to take off my top, and the acting coach is like, take off your top. And she's like, are people crazy? Like, are y'all not understanding what I'm going through? So there's a lot of frustration in
that acting coach was incredibly intense. I believe that's a real acting coach, a pretty famous one. And I know that I remember this when I was very young because I just thought her scene was so funny. She was like, drop into the pain, drop into the pain.
Susan
and her voice
Batson.
is like, yes, Susan Batson, in desperate need of a lozenge today. Because her voice just kept giving out. I'm like, oh my God. One, I think this is like, you're in New York. People ain't got time to baby you like this. Even though like what you are going through is legitimate, What I noticed on Murray's Wall, he got a lot of black actors up there. And I'm like, do you represent all of them? Do you understand the racial dynamic you put this girl in when you did not tell her that this white man was going to ask her to take off her clothes?
Exactly.
As a white man, were you thinking about how this black woman was going to feel?
No,
probably not.
Thinking. Why would he think that? Why would he care?
She is literally wiping her nose with the wanted ads. When I saw that, I just thought, dear God. She's on the subway when she's wiping her nose with the wanted ads. And so like there's no privacy. You don't even get the luxury of being at this low point in private.
No.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like there's some times where it's like, oh man, like I'm in between checks and dang, like what do I have? Oh God, I'm gonna have to eat cereal for breakfast. Like I've had times like that. I didn't have to go through that in front of people. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, so just the humiliation of that. And no one on the subway is making fun of her, but that just hit me so hard. So when she gets the opportunity to make some quick money, I have no confusion of why she's like, hey, yes, let's do this. Now I have other questions for her ass.
Like what?
Why the fuck is you trying to meet Bob Regular at the motherfucking down to the Coney?
We'll get to that later. I mean, them girls told her don't get caught up. Like, do not get caught up. They warned her. They said, might need to find you a hobby, get you a coloring book, get you something, get you something to do. So you.
But her hobby is acting. Yeah. Like that is what she is doing. So it's like she is literally like this is her hobby to a certain extent. If you have a chef who graduates from chef school, I don't know. But they can't find a job as a chef. Yes, but they can't find a job as a chef. But they get on at Waffle House. I can see them taking their job at Waffle House a little bit more seriously than everybody else.
It's like, girl,
because
just put the eggs on the griddle.
And they like, nah, not my craft. You about to get these scrambled eggs about to save lives. You know what I'm saying? So if she hasn't been able to practice her craft in the way that she wants to, I can see her flexing her acting muscles out on these men.
But she messed up when she tried to meet him in person. And when she gave him the number, the shared phone in her apartment, which I was like, damn, was they really sharing phones? Was a phone that much of a luxury?
That felt weird to me in the 90s. But maybe I'm thinking that it's supposed to suggest their income level. Because if you got...
Yeah, because in 96, we had a house phone. Everybody I know had a house phone.
Are we supposed to think about the timelessness of this film? So like with the dream sequences, she never goes back to a film in the 90s. More than likely because she's probably thinking about the films that inspired her the most. So sometimes the films that inspire you the most are from when you were a child.
Right.
So you are looking at
Dorothy
Foxy
Dandridge.
Brown and, and the Jeffersons and Good Times. That makes sense to me. Mm-hmm. And so maybe this is a way to keep us in that timeless aspect. I don't know. I ain't got no smart readings of them having a hall phone
it
other
could
than
be, I
money.
don't know how old she's supposed to be. If we say she's supposed to be in her 20s, mid 20s. Let's see, she was married and divorced, mid to late 20s.
Mm-hmm.
And so she doesn't have a family, and she's a struggling actress. So it's like having a phone in your apartment isn't your biggest priority. I mean, what you need a phone?
Yeah, I mean, if you've got a hall phone, it seems like no one is dying to get to the phone.
Right.
I would think as an actress, you would want
Yeah.
a phone in your house for these callbacks, but maybe that's child. Look, she ain't got to worry about that because ain't nobody calling her ass back. That's why she got to go do the phone bone, as Jimmy says.
Phone bone. Is this therapy for men? Because it seemed like the men who called, it wasn't just about the sex. It was, I'm dealing with a lot. My wife don't love me. My mama's sick. Like, was this men's therapy?
Child, that dude.
Is this an example of women having to be the therapist for the men in their lives, or the men that's not in their lives, but because they not going to therapy, they have to find a woman to listen to them? Like, is this what this is? Because that's what it looked like to me. It looked like therapy session with a little bit extra.
It showed us like the complexities of sex work, right? And what you have to turn a blind eye to. I mean, the man who wanted to pretend that he was fucking a student and he was a principal. It's like,
That's not.
Like what? Why you want to do that? You know what I'm saying? Like
that's who needed to talk. Like, we need to talk about this.
Now, why do you want that? Why do you want that? The dude who was who played Nola Darling's dad in the TV show, up there hitting baseballs in his drawers.
Oh yes, it's like that's what I'm saying. That's I was thinking. Do men just need someone to talk to?
Hell yeah.
But like can they not talk to family and friends? They
Hell
have
no.
no therapy.
But I also
back in the day, so this is all they can get.
Like,
them calls is expensive. Them calls ain't free.
I am going to say this, and I hope you don't judge me.
Okay.
I think that there's a certain amount of intimacy that can be reached quicker with a casual encounter than with somebody that you've known for a very long time. Because with the person you've known for a very long time, the stakes are a little bit higher.
I'm saying that's why I say this is therapy. They need to call it.
Yeah, so that's They need but I don't think that. I think it's a little dangerous to call this therapy.
No,
okay. Though.
My point, me calling it therapy is that the men calling, it wasn't just about, oh, let me just get something off real quick. Like somewhere it was, like you said, the guy playing baseball, he needed words of affirmation.
A fan.
Like, the guy who his mom was sick, he kept calling back. Oh, so how's your mom? Like, they know these men's lives. The guy calling with his girlfriend or his wife. It's like they needed a third person to kind of hear both sides of whatever they were going through. It's like, this is not what we signed up for. I didn't sign up to hear about your relationship and your mama and your childhood dreams of playing baseball and you needing all your love languages that you need, words of affirmation and whatever. Like, this ain't what we signed up for.
Yeah. But I noticed that a lot of the training that she was going through, they was talking about, they use the term transsexual. They use the term dominatrix. And it was like, girl next door. A lot of the training was very like, you about to get some freaks calling your ass. You know what I'm saying? But like you said, a lot of these calls she was getting, it was like, the sex was in the background. Like it wasn't, the goal wasn't to get to the sex quick. I mean, maybe the first call. Her first call was like wham bam. But these other calls, people were like, here's what I need from you. I need for you, like you said, the words of affirmation. I need for you to tell me that I'm not a bad person because my mother is dying and I feel like I wasn't the best son. It is labor intensive in that way.
Yes, it's like,
because that's a lot to hold on to.
Women can never catch a break. Even when you're trying to be casual, it's like, oh, my mom. It's like, shut up.
That becomes difficult not to care about.
No, I
remember when I was working as a customer care agent for a phone company, and if I took more than 10 calls a day, way more than that. But if I had 10 calls, 5 calls are people telling me their damn problems. And I used to be like, I don't have the capacity to hear people give me bad news all of the time.
Well, stuff ain't got
I don't have the capacity for this. Like, there's some things I'm like, I know I can't be no 911 operator.
Hopefully 911 gets straight to the point. But I've had jobs where you're calling people for whatever, for work purposes, and they're like, well, I can't right now. There's a lot going on. My employee is late. It's like, ma'am, do you have the paper? Can you fax the document or not? Like, yes or no. But you just gotta listen and reassure them. Okay, I understand. I'll follow up with you next week.
Come on, follow up with you next week.
What's with the Angela storyline? She was so connected to this girl to where she went and to visit her in person and hand her a letter. That part I didn't get. I'm like, is this her daughter that she gave up for adoption? Like, what is this? Because it seemed like she was super connected to this girl. I'm like, is her name Angela? That's what I'm like. Is her name Angela? Because there's something that's tying these two, something that's tying her to this little girl, to where she feels like she needs to see her in person.
Yeah. And in one scene where she is putting on makeup, we see her tying her head in bandages. Mm-hmm. So it's like, this is another character that she feels like she needs to embody. Why is that? It did feel like the film was saying that her and Angela were one and the same. Yeah. Because notice that we also kept getting shots of the camera going into the empty elevator shaft and going all the way to the bottom. So can we get to the caller who harasses her?
Oh, yeah.
So she starts taking phone calls at home.
She double dips. Before she got this job, she met with Madonna at a club. And Madonna was like, you can do this at home. She was saying, working at the call center, you're limited. But if you're at home, you can do more. Jennifer Lewis, the boss, knows she's overworked. She's been working overtime. She's like, honey, you're tired. Go home. You need a break. You're exhausted. You're doing too much. But Girl 6 is like, take no breaks. She ends up getting back with Madonna. I got a phone line, and I'm going to take these calls at home.
What I don't understand is this. The man who calls himself Dr. Smut, he calls her when she is working in the office.
Yes.
So does she give him another phone number? I know she gave Bob Regular her home line. Yeah. The hall phone. She gave him that number.
Yes.
How is Michael calling her from home?
I don't know.
Calling her at her home. What we're meant to see is the maternal nature that Lil has.
Yes.
That you're not going to get with Madonna.
Oh, no.
Because she cuts that call short. She's like, oh, no, you don't have to take that. We do have standards here. When they get like that, you can hang up. He calls her while she's in the house. And we have that floating dolly shot that is
the Spike Lee signature.
A Spike Lee move. The picture is distorted because she's distorted. There's a lot of times where the picture is distorted. When she's high off that weed, that number 75 done gave her ass, the picture is distorted. Of course it is, because you've got all this fucking brain fog, you high. Of course it is. Now you're overworked, you're tired, you still feel desperate, you have allowed this work to come into your home. So there is kind of like a defilement of safe spaces going on. So, of course, the picture is hazy. And you've got this man calling you, talking to you crazy, and no one on the other end to hang up to protect you. That call gets a little too...
Gets scary.
Very uncomfortable for her, because he says, oh, I have your address. And he names her address. He's like, I'm going to come there, and I'm going to harm you. I'm not going to say what he's going to do, because I think that's too much to say here. But he wants to harm her. He never comes. We never see her be hurt, but she's scared. And so this final time that we go down, what did you say?
I would be scared too.
Girl, I would, baby, the nearest church. Throughout the film, there are these cuts of diving down into that elevator shaft, right? And this final time we dive down into the elevator shaft, and what's at the bottom waiting for us is the face of that scary caller. Right after that, we see girl 6 running up the stairs to Jimmy's apartment. But where were you? Y'all live on the same floor. If you were taking that call from your apartment, y'all live on the same floor. All you had to do was go across the hall. So again, it's supposed to be like her being Angela, literally being at the bottom of that elevator shaft. So now when she's trying to escape this, she has to run up the stairs, because there's no reason for her to be running upstairs. Why are you running upstairs? Y'all live on the same floor. When did you go downstairs? You taking calls in the basement? That was never the case. The lifestyle that she wants to live, which isn't a flamboyant one, is asking her to do this descending into the depths of this, like the underbelly of society. Because how else is she supposed to take care of herself and realize her dream, which is, with you in America, you can be anything you want to be. You can do what you want to do. You can have any career you want. No, the fuck you can't. How? So that's why she went and got Angela them flowers, honey, because she feels like she is.
She went
Angela.
She fell too deep.
Yeah.
That story was a huge significant part of the show, of the movie. But I was like, that's what I'm like, is this her daughter? Like, what's going on here?
You say this is her daughter. You done seen Angela's mama and auntie, but you like, nah, this is her long lost daughter.
Exactly. Okay.
This is it.
Terica got 2 mamas.
And mothers are very important to Spike Lee joints. I mean, there's the loss of the mother in Crooklyn, as we know, so like sad. That's semi-autobiographical. But also we have mothers, an absence of mothers here. She says her mother is alive, but it's like, do you have access to your mother in a way? Like, can you not gonna call her and ask for advice?
For her to be in the beginning, in her audition, she's saying that she is from New York. But we don't see none of her New York friends. All we see is this raggedy ex. Like, where's your homegirls? Like, this is your city.
Where's your family?
Yeah, your family.
You said you from Queens. Jimmy and Lil become parental figures for her in a way. But in a way that's also problematic, because it seemed like both of them want sex from her. Like, Lil is hiring you to be a performer. And Jimmy was giving off vibes like he wanted the fuck. And is it me?
I don't think they would.
When he was like, you should let me tighten you up, what do that mean?
I don't know.
See, don't be acting like you don't know.
I don't think they did it, and I don't think they would.
Me too.
I'm sure he would be down, but I don't think Girl 6 isn't going there. Girl, whatever her name is.
I don't think so either. But another reason I position them as parental figures is because in her last dream sequence, she's Thelma. And she's not Thelma in Good Times. No, she's Thelma in The Jeffersons.
Yeah.
Ciao. Lil plays Wheezy and Jimmy plays George.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so those are her parental figures?
That felt fitting to me. That felt absolutely fitting to me. And it also felt fitting to me that this isn't Thelma being with her parents in Good Times. It's like there's a skewed nature to this. Because I have parents that I can go see in Queens. But I'm letting these other people serve as like parental guidance, even though that ain't what it's supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? Like there's something that's just off about it.
We're doing
but it feels right that it's off. Yeah.
We're shaking.
That was the only shakeup that we had, right? Because in Carmen Jones, her ex-husband plays Joe. Mm-hmm. That makes sense. They're ex-lovers. And these are two people who are playing lovers in the film. In Foxy Brown, I don't know who that actor was who was playing like the agent who was assisting Foxy Brown.
I don't either.
Can we talk about Bob Regular?
Yeah.
Where is he the first time he calls?
Where is that phone booth? It don't look like New York. When he's in his car?
No, when he is in a phone booth in a dark room. Like, where is there a phone booth in a dark room? It's like you're inside somewhere. But yeah, I like that as the calls grow with Bob, we get to see more and more of his face. Because the first call we see we see like all shadows. The second call we see him clearly, but we see mostly the back of him. And the third call is like we see him almost dead on. Now, Bob says that his mother is dying of cancer. Do you believe Bob?
I mean, part of me does, because I feel like all these men be calling this hotline for therapy sessions. So, I would believe him too. Like, why would he lie? He don't know her.
Yeah. The second call that we see, we know that this isn't the second call, right? Because his name is already Bob Regular. Mm-hmm. He ain't no regular. This is his second call.
Right.
So we know like, oh, they've been talking. And I think it's at that moment that we know that she has developed feelings for him. Mm-hmm. That's when I knew, because she's like, I just want to let you know that the calls that me and you've shared, talking about your mom, they really mean a lot to me. Mm-hmm. That turned him all the way off. Did you notice that?
Yeah, because he was like, listen, I'm the one that pours my heart out. You just listen. I think
that's exactly right. Yes.
You listen.
Because that would have required work on his part. Like, oh, let me handle your feelings right now.
No, that's not what I called for.
I don't do that. I don't do that. And I guess to a certain extent, that's fair. I'm the one that's paying. Mm-hmm. I guess. Third call, he called from his car again. He in the back seat of his car just chilling. He said, let's meet. I'm about to be in New York for a day. Let's meet up at Coney Island. Take your day off. And I want to see you.
And she does, which is weird. I'm like, girl.
She ain't got no black female friends.
But even the girls in the call center was like, honey, don't do it. No.
But I don't think she told any of them.
When they was telling her, don't get caught up. She told somebody. She
did. She was like, oh yeah, I gave him my number.
And she
was like, we're not supposed to do that. Yeah. So you're right. But I don't know if she told them that they was meeting up.
I don't think she told the Coney Island part, but they was telling her, girl, no, we keep this in the office. No, we not doing calls outside the office.
I'm going to be girl 6 and you be Nicole.
Okay.
Girl. So you know how I've been working this little phone sex thing, and I got my little Bob Regular from Tucson, Arizona. Mm-hmm. Girl, how about he coming up to New York? He want to meet me at Coney Island.
Nope, don't do it. No.
Well, I mean, cause I think, why not?
It's a no for me. You don't know this man.
I feel like I might go.
He could be scary.
Oh, we talk every day.
You don't
we
know
talk
him.
every day. Would you say this if we had met on the street?
He don't even know your real name. I don't even know your real name. Is it Lovely? Is it Judy? Is it like, no? Scary.
I would have called girl 6 mom. I would have been like, oh, so you gonna go down there after I said, okay, hold on, watch this. But you wouldn't have been able to find her mom in the phone because you don't know her name.
Nope.
Thanks for listening. We'll be back next week with another film and more opinions. Leave a review and tell us what you'd like for us to watch. And let's keep the convo going on Instagram. You can find us at Curry Gumbo. Be well. Happy watching. Love y'all. Bye.